And we are now moving over to yet another magical, wonderful lady. There she is. She's waiting to come on, jump into the limelight. It's Debbie, who is also an amazing reader. Oh, look at you, Debbie. You look fabulous. Gorgeous.
Oh, hi, Mandy. Hi, Mandy. And that was beautiful. Absolutely beautiful.
Debbie's going to talk about crystals, but then afterwards, yeah, you're around for a while to do readings as well.
Yeah, I'm doing intuition first, and then I'm coming back to do crystals very shortly.
Sorry. Yeah,
that's all right. That's fine. There's so much going on.
I was in the spirit. Well, I wasn't literally. You know what I mean.
I know what you mean. I know what you mean.
All right, I'm going to mute myself. Off you go.
Perfect. It's absolutely fabulous to be here at this wonderful event, and I wanted to talk about intuition because all of us involved in some form of spiritual work or tarot reading use intuition, and some of us who are not involved in that. Intuition is just such a fundamental, important part of who we are. So, you know, I just thought it'd be a great opportunity to chat about it, and then I'm going to just talk through some exercises so we can get more in tune with our intuition as well at the end. But you know, intuition, without intuition, none of us would be here today, and I really want to emphasize that the human race would not be here because our ancestors did not have things like sat navs or satellite guidance or even language to start with to help them survive during those very early years. They lived by their intuition, by their feelings, by their gut instinct. And it's thanks to our ancestors and the strongest intuitions that evolved with them that helped us survive through the wilderness thousands and thousands of years ago. And the thing is, intuition is still with us. We may not always be aware of it, but it's still with us today. We experience our intuition every day, whether we know it or not. Think of this. Just imagine, you know, the way that you automatically react if you see something hurtling towards you from your peripheral vision. If you're a ball or a rock or something, you'll move out the way. You won't have to think about it. When you hear a sudden loud noise, it makes you jump. You know, if you hear an angry voice coming from someone, but you might not be able to see them, intuitively, you decide and you react and you decide what to do. You decide whether there's any real danger, and more importantly, and almost instantly, you know what to do. But one of the problems why we don't use our intuition so much today is because we've learned to rely more and more on logic, on our analytical thinking. We get a problem, we weigh things up. You know, intuition is not always our first response. It's not highly regarded anymore. But think of this. How many times have you said something like, do you know what? I had that gut instinct, but I didn't listen to it. I just ignored it. Or how many times have you said something like, do you know what? I knew what was going on, but just didn't like to say anything. Or what about if you said, I so wanted to do that. I don't know why I didn't do it. I just walked away. Logic and reason has its place, of course it does. But in an effort to protect us, what's happening is our brain, in order to keep us alive and safe, our brain can keep us from speaking up. It can keep us from getting what we truly want. And that happens if you don't know how to listen beyond the rationalizations and beyond the logic. I love this quote by Albert Einstein. He says, the only real valuable thing in life is intuition. And I really, really believe that. You know what it's like? We're faced with, we have to make a decision maybe. And that could be a really, really tough decision that we need to make. And what do? We try and figure it out. We talk to people. We try cold logic. Maybe we'll research something, apply a bit of common sense. Sometimes these approaches work. Sometimes they don't. They just add more confusion and more choice to an already insolvable, or what is perceived as an insolvable problem. But there is another way, and that's intuition. the voice of your gut instinct. And sometimes, more often than not, your gut will provide more valuable feedback than your head ever could. Intuition exists and has existed for very, very good reasons. And so we shouldn't dismiss it. We all have intuition, but we don't always consciously listen to it. We trust only what appears to be rational in what is really a very irrational mind. So I'm wondering, of all the people that are listening, how many people use their intuition? How many people would like to tap more into their intuition, go deeper into their intuition? Because it is such a powerful thing. I believe, if I'm honest, I believe it's more than just a gut instinct. I personally believe it's a fundamental part of who we are. It's that little gentle push that we feel to take a certain path. We don't always know why. Sometimes we just feel inclined to, oh, I don't know what, I'm just going to go down that path, or I'm going to do this. It's that pit that we get in our stomach, that churn when something's not quite right. And sometimes it can be that little nod of confidence that just lets us know we're making that right decision. It's real and it's important, but so many of us are not tapping into our intuition or using it to our advantage, and that's because it speaks in a quiet voice. It rarely pushes for attention. It doesn't come up shouting and screaming. Intuition has mastered the art of subtlety, which is why it's so often ignored. But if you know how to really harness the power of your intuition, how you can increase the power of your intuition, you can use it to create more positive outcomes in your life, more opportunities, and of course it can help make better decisions. I like to think of my intuition as my inner sat nav. It's my inner guide. It's certainly my inner teacher, and it's certainly a teacher that I should definitely, all of us should definitely listen to. As I said, intuition is so subtle that we sometimes only remember it with hindsight. So let's just take a moment to look at how to hear and listen our own intuition, how to tap into it whenever or wherever we are. And I'm going to give you one golden rule that will really, really help you with your intuition. And that is the way to do this, the way to remember is this one rule will change everything. Intuition is not thought awareness. It's got nothing to do with our logic, thinking mind. Intuition is sensory awareness. Intuition is a way of knowing something without any conscious, rational process. It's that feeling. It's the hairs are standing up on the back of your neck. It's the excitement that you feel in your tummy. It's just knowing, just having an inkling that you're making the right or the wrong decision. And it's just trusting and going with those feelings. It's sensory, it's feelings. You need to get out of your head and listen to your gut instincts. Your body and what your senses are telling you are just so powerful. It's your body and it's your feelings that are really going to help you follow your intuition. So it's no surprise, actually, a little bit of science here. There's no surprise that we call intuitive knowledge a gut instinct. And I just want to touch on this really, really briefly because it is a very physical, emotional event. But scientists have now believed that our gut is our second brain. And it contains millions of neurons and it can release neurotransmitters like serotonin. So your intuition and your emotions are often felt in your body which is often a hell of a lot smarter than our overburdened, perpetually distracted mind. So how do we get in touch with our intuition? How can we, learn to tap into this and hear it? If it's so subtle, if it's so quiet, what can we do? One of the best ways to get in touch with your intuition more effectively is to quiet down, to pay attention to your feeling about a situation or a person. Today, many of us don't find this quite easy because society promotes busyness. It's a way of life, and it's even in some instances become a virtue. The more busy you are, the better the person you are, which is rubbish. We spend our days trying to manage 50 million things and put out 50 million fires, but remember this: your mind needs to get quiet to hear the voice of your intuition, to hear that voice, that subtle voice of that inner wisdom. And so often it's just a whisper, not a scream. So one thing that you can maybe do that, some people find, some people might already be doing it, is to do some form of meditation. Just to sit in a quiet space and relax. It's really, really helpful. Just to sit there and get in touch with your feelings. What are you feeling? Where are you feeling it? So I'd like to just talk through an exercise that you can do anytime, anywhere, but you might even want to do it wherever you're sitting now. If you feel comfortable, let's just go through this quite slowly so you can learn to get in touch with your intuition. So the idea would be either find a quiet place or find somewhere where you can sit or lie down and just be comfortable, somewhere where you won't be disturbed, just for a few minutes. And breathe. Breathe deeply. But I want you to breathe in a certain way. I want you to put your hand on your tummies and try and breathe from your diaphragm so your hand goes up and down. Just sit and breathe. And breathe as deeply and as slowly as is comfortable. And your hand will gently rise up and down. While you're breathing, just focus on the breathing. Breathe fully and slowly. And just allow your mind to quieten. And if you have any thoughts come in, that's okay. Just don't pay them any attention. Focus on your breathing. And just as you're sitting there thinking, while you're sitting there breathing, allowing the mind to come quiet. And now I'd like you to think of a situation in your past that went really, really well. Or maybe went really wrong. Whatever comes to mind. Try to remember what happened as best you can. And then try to remember, was there ever a moment you had a hunch about that situation? Was there ever a gut feeling or a knowingness that either you should or shouldn't continue with what you were doing? Did you pay attention to that feeling? And if so, what happened? What were some of the thoughts you had? Did you think, wow, this is a terrific opportunity? Or, oh no, this is awful. I know how this is going to turn out. Or I can't do this. What were some of your emotions Was there a sense of excitement or dread? Think back now, and we've all been in this situation. Think back on a time when you've dated someone you shouldn't have. You all done that? I certainly have. Was there anything that he or she did early in that relationship that seemed like a red flag and immediately comes to mind? Did you disregard something that felt disturbing because you just thought, no, I just want to keep seeing him or her? Have you been in that situation? Yeah, I certainly have. I ended up married in the worst experience of my life, but we're only human. But the other thing with intuition as well, which I think is really important, is it's important to look for synchronicities. And I think we touched on this last night, actually. You know, has there ever been any weird or unexplained events that have happened? For example, did you ever find, just happen to be in the right place at the right time and meet the right person? I think we're all supposed to go in a certain direction, and the universe opens a door. And while there may be many obstacles, when we follow our intuition and we go with where the universe is pointing, there's a sense of things just flow, and miraculously events occur to make things happen, and issues end up resolving themselves. So if your intuition now, if you bring your intuition into your present, into today, into right now, it's the same thing to get in touch with your intuition, to know what to do. You can almost apply some of the similar questions. Is there anything going on in your life right now that is very confusing? And are you having a hard time deciding what to do? Have you just met someone and want to know if they're right, either for a friendship or a romance? If you've got any questions about anything that's happening in your life right now, just sit quietly and breathe. Allow your inner wisdom, your inner teacher, a bit of time and space to bubble up. And you won't hear words, but you'll feel feelings. Trust those feelings.
2 minutes, Debbie, sorry.
Lovely, thank you, Sharon.
We actually forgot to tell it to you because we were so mesmerised. Yeah, sorry.
That's fine. So if you're in that situation, just get in touch and feel those feelings. And then, more importantly, act on those feelings. Get quiet, notice what you're feeling in your body, and listen. And follow that gut instinct. I can guarantee it will never, never let you down. So sometimes we can, it's so easy to override feelings with rationalization. But do honor that small voice, honor that voice of your intuition, use it as your compass. And I'd just like to wind up with just one more thing, is the more that you tap into your intuition, the more you allow yourself to get quiet and follow those feelings, the stronger your intuition will be. Your intuition knows what's right. It knows how to guide you in the right direction. And it's all you need to do is to learn to listen. And so one final quote. Intuition is not from outer space. It's from inner space. And it's always there. So that's me. That's intuition. I hope you all enjoyed that.
Yeah, that was really lovely. That was great. I think we were all away with the fairies then. And
Lovely.
yeah, so it's very much the High Priestess card, isn't it? That kind of trust in your inner voice. So
Oh,
yeah,
absolutely, absolutely.
very much that card. So and Debbie is a very intuitive, very sensitive, lovely tarot reader, and she is